Let's look at an area of retirement that is foundational to a successful retirement, but the strategy of what or how to do it isn't talked about a lot. So this is going to be useful for whether you're 5 years out or you're already retired. And as you're thinking about retirement more, I'm sure you've seen a lot of tips from certified financial planners about what to do. You know, things like delaying Social Security or being diversified or paying off debt, those things are important. But there's a few things that you don't hear about often. So I want to share that with you in this video. And again, this is simple, but it's also very effective. And if I haven't met you yet, I'm Dave Zoller and I own Streamline Financial with Tim and Luke and Sean. And we've helped hundreds of people get to this level 10 out of 10 confidence in retirement. And I share what's working with actual retirees so that you can benefit as well. So be sure to subscribe if you're thinking about your retirement more now, really more than ever. So as I was thinking about this simple and effective strategies and things to share, I was reminded of this client discussion that I had a while back, and we'll just call him Dan. And he was a few years out from retiring, and he came in and we were creating this income plan to look at of all the what if scenarios. And then remember, we've got the income plan, that's important, which is also the withdrawal strategy, the investment plan, and the tax plan. Those are really the three key parts of your retirement, at least in the beginning. And he asked, his question was, so how long until I get to $5 million? And I said, well, let's take a look. And I wanted to understand a little bit more about why $5 million. So I asked, well, what's important about getting to $5 million? And he said, well, that's the number I want. I want $5 million. Great. Why $5 million? And he's like, that's just what I want to have. So last question was, let's just pretend we're looking at a portfolio, your portfolio of $5 million, 18 months from now. What will you be able to do now? You know, what can you do when you see $5 million as your portfolio? And then he said, I'll just know that my wife will be okay if I die. And internally, I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's why we're planning. And you and I both know that behind every financial decision, there's an emotional one as well. But a lot of people out there, they're just saving and they're adding more to the top of their nest egg, and they're getting their number, and I think maybe they just get to this number and then all of a sudden they get there and then they want to add more and they want to keep going. And the emotional reason that they have to do this is that it's really one out of security, which makes sense, right? A little bit more to the top and I'll feel even better about stopping work. But what happens is they might be missing out on something even better, something they should really be doing for this next stage of life. But it's not their fault. I believe that the financial industry really conditioned us to focus on the number and the nest egg. Remember those commercials from, I won't name the company, but it's the people walking around with big orange numbers on their head. Everyone's got, $1 million, $2 million, and they're walking through the airport. And actually, let me see if I could pull this up and remember this one. Oh, how big is his number? Well, excuse me. I don't know. It's just, it was kind of silly. Yeah, it made sense. Oh, this is my number and this is important to me. And once you get to that number, you're going to feel a sense of security or something new that maybe you didn't feel before. But you know what this does when you focus on the number? It actually causes more financial insecurity, and it causes you to have less peace of mind about money. Why is that? It's because the number fluctuates, right? Those ups and downs, they can actually change our brain chemistry. If you see one day a number that's higher than it used to be, that can actually release dopamine into your brain and feel like you did something. Or the next day when you see something down, or the next month or quarter, or whenever you get the statement, if it's down, that can release cortisol and you feel like you're doing something wrong. And it can really impact our mood. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but a lot of people do. And many of the things that change this number that we're going for are out of our control. So basing retirement on this number being the number one thing, that's not the way to go. I'm going to share with you what smart retirees do next. But if you're wanting a more clear picture on your retirement, then reach out by clicking that Get Started button on our website or the one below this video, and then I'll have a conversation with you and we could talk more about it. But what do smart retirees do? Here's what they do. They focus on the cash flow more so than the number above their head. Yes, they're related, but when you plan this way, retirement contentment actually increases. Confidence increases. For example, that client that wanted $5 million, once we discovered the why behind the number of $5 million, we focused on the cash flow needed to make sure that his wife was going to be okay. And there's two cash flow strategies actually that I want to share with you coming up. But just to finish with this client, we discovered that a cash flow amount that he wants his wife to continue to receive if he were to pass away, she wanted $12K, or he wanted $12K coming in to the bank for her and increasing over time. He'd feel great about that if she was able to receive that. So we updated the income plan, and we discovered that she needed a lot less, or he needed, or they needed a lot less than $5 million to actually accomplish this goal. He actually already had enough. So smart retirees, they focus on cash flow over the nest egg. If you focus on the number, then market drops feel so much worse. If you focus on the number, then you get almost no data on how you should actually be invested. And we know that we don't want to be invested just based off our risk tolerance. But if you focus on the cash flow and the income plan first, that will tell you how much you should have invested and what it should be invested in. Then you don't have to worry about these market swings that may happen because you've got enough in conservative funds, so your cash flow isn't going to be impacted if there was an extended bear market. Now, I'm just scratching the surface here when it comes to this income planning and investment planning that brings more peace of mind and clarity to clients' futures. So focusing on cash flow first when you're planning retirement, it's really get the expenses right, know what you need and what you want, and then also count the passive income, the real estate income, the Social Security income, and that can help guide you to the next step of planning your retirement. Now, there's one other cash flow strategy, and this one is related to, it's more of the short term, and it's more of I guess, logistics of retirement income. And this is important too, because in retirement, you probably want to keep having a monthly amount come into the bank. That's kind of like your paycheck, from different income sources and savings and pensions and Social Security and such. But you're also going to want to have a cash flow buffer. That's the second thing, a cash flow buffer at your bank, which is an amount that's equal to 1 to 2 or maybe 3 months of your regular monthly expenses. And this is different than an emergency fund. This is an amount that's available and it's readily usable. It's right there for you. It's not in a different account that's on the side. It's ready to be used. So if regular expenses are $5K a month, you may have $5K coming in from different income sources, but you might want to have $15 or $20K at the bank. And if you're doing it this way, maybe most months at the bank you'd have $20,000 and spend some, go down to $15K, and then you get the deposit and go back up to $20K. But there might be miscellaneous expenses that come up, like the real estate tax or insurance premium renewals. So having a cash flow buffer allows you to pay for those things easily without having to move money around or go to the emergency fund or things like that. So I'm excited for you in this next stage of life, But there are some things to be aware of, some things that might cause you to miss out on that ideal retirement. And I'm going to include them in the video somewhere on the screen. That's going to be the 3 lies that we're almost conditioned to believe. So watch that. And if this one was helpful, click on the like button because that would mean a lot to me. And then I'll see you in the next video.